All right. This video is a demo of the Audio Project Manager software. It used to be called SIL Transcriber. It is a software that you can use to do oral Bible translation, to do Bible storying, oral drafting, transcription, and almost anything that has to do with recording audio. And it manages the audio files, keeps them organized for you, and keeps you progressing through a workflow that you set up. So this is the screen that shows when you first get logged in to Audio Project Manager, and it's broken into teams and then projects. So I have a demo team, an English OBT team, and then some other teams below here. And then each team has individual projects that I've set up. This Spanish Luke is one that I created for this demo. And before we hop into the demo of in this project, let me show you the workflow feature. So this is, I think a really great feature of Audio Project Manager is the fact that you can customize the workflow. You can set it to exactly what you want. So these are the steps that I have set up. It's 15 or so steps that each section and passage will progress through, from initial internalization all the way to final recording and exporting to be used in the community. And APM will take you through each of these steps. This is pretty close to the default OBT workflow. I have adjusted a couple of things, but you can add steps, you can hide them, you can reorder them and rename them, and it's very customizable. All right, so let me get out of that and hop into this Spanish Luke project. I've chosen a very short passage, Jesus' family, from Luke 8:19 to 21, to demo the steps of OBT using Audio Project Manager. You'll see in this case there's one passage in the section, but you can also have multiple passages in a section. I put this up here as an example of that. The parable of the farmer scattering seed would be a little bit on the long side to do all in one go, and so I've done the story itself and then as the first passage, and then Jesus' explanation of the story to his disciples as the second passage. All right, so to hop into the workflow, you just click this button over here, and all four of these passages are in the same internalize step, which is the first step in the workflow. So let me move myself down here. You can see this bar across the top has all of the steps that the passage will have to go through. And there's more than will show on my laptop screen. I could click over here to show you the rest. But so let's get started. I've got this screen is where you can set up resources for the translators to use to internalize. And these can be audio. So I've added the CEV recording of this passage and the WEB recording of the passage. I could also have added a PDF with like a map or some unknown concept in the passage, or links to videos that I want to show. I could also have notes to remind myself to act the passage out with the translators, or use objects to internalize it, whatever I wanted to do here. You can really spend a lot of time setting this up, or very little time if you prefer not to. But I've done a little somewhere in between with two resources for learning it. So I'm going to play the first one and kind of pretend like I'm internalizing this. I'm going to be recording it eventually in Spanish, but And I'll let you listen to the whole thing the first time, but after that, I think I'll speed up the video so that you don't have to listen to the whole thing every time. So here we go.
Jesus' mother and brothers went to see him, but because of the crowd, they could not get near him. Someone told Jesus,
"Your mother and brothers are standing outside and want to see you."
Jesus answered,
My mother and my brothers are those people who hear and obey God's message.
All right, so I can mark that completed. We've now listened to that one. I will play the other one here and speed it up for you.
Jesus' mother and brothers.
All right, so in real practice, I would spend a lot more time internalizing this and would be doing it with a group. But for the sake of this demo, I will just keep going. Oh, and it moved it to the bottom, so I probably played the same one again. All right, so I'm going to say we've done our internalization, so I can click Step Complete up here, and that will take me to the Record step. And one of the new features of APM is that it can track your copyright releases. So I'm going to add this new speaker, which is me, Nathan, as needing a copyright release. And I could record that right here if I wanted to and say that I give permission to use my voice and all that. I'm just going to click Do Later for now. And so it's now ready to record this. I could also have recorded outside, like somebody could have recorded on their phone and sent it to me, and I could import it and upload it, and then APM will keep track of it here and use it just as if I had recorded it straight into the program. I can also use Audacity. This Launch Audacity feature will let you create an Audacity project, and APM knows where to store it and keep all of that organized. All you have to do is click Create here. Audacity would allow you to do a lot more features of audio recording and editing than the basic features that are here in APM. I'm not going to use Audacity today, so let me record this passage in Spanish. La familia de Jesús, su mamá y sus hermanos vinieron para visitarlo, pero no podían entrar para verlo porque había tanta gente en el lugar donde Jesús estaba. Entonces se quedaron afuera y alguien vino y le avisó a Jesús, dijo, tu familia está afuera y quieren verte. Y Jesús dijo, mi familia son las personas que escuchan el mensaje de Dios y lo obedecen. So I meant to wear my hat for that as the translator to show you that it should be a different person. So let me take that hat off and I'm back into my facilitator role. So I could, if I had misspoke and then restarted halfway through my recording here, I could highlight something and snip it out, or I could also, if I waited a little bit, which I did here a little bit to get started, I could highlight that and delete it so that it starts the record. You hear the audio sooner. You can save it as compressed, which is OGG format. That uses a lot less space, or uncompressed, which is a WAV, which is full quality but will take more storage space in the cloud and take longer to upload. I will use the compressed format for today, and then I'm going to click Save, and I think I am happy with my recording there, but I would probably listen to it again just to make sure, but for this demo, I will keep going. All right, so I'm good with that recording, so I'm going to click Step Complete, and that brings me to the Team Check step. The Team Check is where you compare your draft with one of the versions that you used, one of the resources that you used for internalization. So I will pick one of them, CEV, and then play a little bit of
Jesus' mother and brothers went to see him, but
La familia de Jesús, su mamá y sus hermanos vinieron para visitarlo. That seems
because
good.
of the crowd, they could not get near him.
Pero no podían entrar para verlo porque había tanta gente en el lugar donde Jesús estaba. All right. So I didn't hear anything that, I mean, I could have done better on the recording, but I didn't hear anything major that needs to be re-recorded at this point. So I will say step complete and move forward. And the peer review step is set up exactly like the team check step, where they can listen to the draft and listen to all of the resources used to internalize, and then have discussions about what they're hearing. So let me model that for you. All right. So I, as a peer reviewer right now, I want to make a comment on the pronoun that is used in the draft. I used the drafter used the tú form instead of usted, and so let me find where that occurs. Alguien vino y le avisó a Jesús, dijo tu familia está. Tu familia, right in here. So I've highlighted it, and then I want to make a discussion about it. It grabs the timestamp marker right there. I can also add a title, pronoun forms. And I'm going to assign it back to the drafter, which is me. And I'm not going to add a category. And I could type the whole comment here, or I can record it. So I will record it because that is neat to be able to do. So we noticed that you used the tú form of the pronoun instead of usted. We kind of think that the person that would be coming to tell a respected teacher that his family was there would use the more respected form of the pronoun usted. So we would recommend that you, in your next version, use that form of the pronoun. So I stop and then save, and it sends that back to the drafting team. They could record a response back to the peer review or make a new draft. It's up to them. So we'll say this peer review step is done and move to community test. And so community test. So I could jump back to record here based on the peer review and make a new recording if I wanted to. I will just keep going with community test for now. So the way there's two parts of community test, the retell and the question and answer. And so the way the retell works is you get somebody that hasn't heard the story before, play it for them, and probably multiple times, and then get them to tell it, and then look for differences. Did they improve the wording in some way, or did they leave something out because they didn't understand it? Things like that. So I will play the audio again. All right, so I am now a community member participating in this community test session. And I'm going to mark this as community test retell. And this person is named Nate, and I'm going to get them to retell it here. So I've recorded that retell, and I'm going to save it now. And then switch to community test question and answer. And there's several different ways that this could happen, but one is just to plan some questions, play part of the audio, pause it, click record, ask the question, and get the answer. So I'll do that. La familia de Jesús, su mamá y sus hermanos vinieron para visitarlo. All right, so in my facilitator role now, I might ask a question like, why do you think Jesus' family may have wanted to come and visit him? And then in my community member role, I'll say, well, he had been traveling around, like we've seen in these other stories, been traveling around teaching people, and maybe he hadn't been home in a while, and they just wanted to catch up with them. They were a tight-knit family. So I've recorded that question and answer. I will click save. And that's now submitted. So after coming back from the community test session, the translators with the facilitator would listen to those results and decide if they want to revise in any way based on them. Oh, I should also say you can upload. So you could take your phone and just go record the entire community test session and then upload it here, and it'll get stored with the rest of the recordings associated with this passage in the cloud. So if I want to, once we're back in the office analyzing our testing session, I can come and all right. So in my facilitator role now, I might ask a question like, why do you think Jesus? So that's the question and response. And I could also select the retell here. Un día Jesús estaba, and compare that with our draft up here and see what I want to improve on it. And if there's stuff to revise, I could hop back over here to the record step, make a new recording. APM will replace, it keeps all of the past ones here in this versions thing. I only have one here at the moment, but it keeps all the old ones, but whichever one you have said is the master is the one that is moved forward through this process, and the one that is exported in the end, and it knows which one to keep. All right, so I may have made a new recording or not. Either way, I'm saying I'm done with community test. So step complete. And now we are going to whole back translate. So in this step, someone ideally who not familiar with this passage and definitely was not part of the drafting process. So that is going to be, I don't know if I've used this one yet or not. I don't think so. Nathaniel, the back translator. And I'm going to let Nathaniel listen to the whole back translator. So I'm going to let him listen to the whole La familia de Jesús. All right. Probably would have played it more than once, but I'll just do it once for this demo. So I'm going to let my back translator tell it now in English. So Jesus was in a place with a lot of people. All right. So that's my whole back translate. I'm going to save it and call that step complete. And I could listen to it in here if I wanted to, now that back in the office. But we'll say step complete and move on to phrase back translate. So that's going to be Nathaniel again. Okay, so this is a cool feature. I'm going to auto segment. So let APM decide where it thinks this recording should be broken into smaller units for the back translation, the phrase by phrase back translation. I'll play that now. La familia de Jesús, su mamá y sus hermanos vinieron para visitarlo, pero no podían entrar. So that was really close. I'm going to just move it right there. Pero no podían entrar para verlo porque había tanta gente en el lugar donde Jesús estaba. Entonces, that's a little long. Let me I think I want to divide it like right in here somewhere. Entonces se quedaron afuera, pero no podían entrar para verlo porque right there. Nope. Okay. Oh, I think I could have double clicked. Yeah, so I've got another segment there. I'll keep playing. Podían entrar para. All right, that seems good enough. So I'll save the segments. La familia de Jesús, su mamá y sus hermanos vinieron para visitarlo. La familia de Jesús, su mamá y sus hermanos vinieron para visitarlo. Jesus' family, his mother and his brothers, came to visit him. Pero no podían entrar para verlo. But they were not able to enter to see him. All right, so, I should have put on a back translator hat, my back translator hat for that. So I've finished that back translation. So I'm going to click save. And the next step is going to be to transcribe the back translation. So yeah, uploaded successfully. So we're going to move on to the next step. And we'll auto segment this one. All right, so done with the transcription. So I'm going to move to the next step. So it does some little check. The next step is to sync or send receive the back translation into Paratext. So I have a Paratext project that I want to put it into. It's actually an English project, but because I didn't want to bother creating a Spanish one. So it'll go, let's see, 19 to 20, so right in here. So it's always better to first send receive the receiving project just to make sure there's nothing else in there. So I will let that process finish. And yeah, it finished. And come back here. I want it to go into this English Oral Bible translation. And then, yep, one passage ready to sync. So I hit sync. It'll send that to the Paratext servers. And then I can come back here and send receive this project. And it should pull it right in. All right, and there it is. So I could add some verses to it if I want. I'll do that quickly. Not able. There's so many people in the place where Jesus was. So that's where verse 20 goes. And then Jesus' answer is here, verse 21. So I've added some versification. So now I would send this to our consultant and let him know that there's a new passage ready for him to look at. So I will be the consultant now. Consultant logs in from another part of the world and reads through it, and let me find something to comment on. All right. I'll do God's message. So the question I'm going to ask is what kinds of things does the Spanish phrase here communicate? All right, so I would probably make some other comments too, but that's enough for the demo. And then send receive that. It would go back to the team. We could have some dialogue. You can also do all of this. I don't have it in the workflow here, but I could have had a step in here for consultant check. Actually, I do have it, where the consultant check happens in APM through recorded discussions or typed discussions, and it looks a lot like the peer review, where you highlight a section and then record a comment on it and you have a discussion back and forth. It can also happen in Paratext. So Audio Project Manager is happy to serve you either way. All right, so we'll say we've finished the consultant check. Could easily require us to go back and make a new recording here in the record step. Could repeat any of these other steps as well. But we'll say we've finished the consultant check, so step complete. Final review would likely involve some sort of listening to all of the book of Luke, listening to all of the recordings of it to look for inconsistencies or some big picture things that could be improved. And then step complete on that. And then the next step is final recording. Some teams will do this as they go and record in the studio. Some will wait and do a studio recording at the end. Both ways are fine. The final recording is actually here, but it requires you to go back to the record step at the beginning. So we'll say we're happy with the quality of our recording, and then export allows you, there's a lot of different features for export. You can export just the one passage or everything that is to this stage, which this stage is final recording. So everything that has a final recording, you could put an export further up in the process, and it would be everything that's drafted or everything that's been peer reviewed. Wherever you put it, it will grab all of the sections that have gotten to that stage. I won't model it for you, but it's simple. And then the last step is just done. And when it's done, it's done. So, I still have my consultant hat on. All right. That's all for the demo.